Well, good morning, WL Church family. I'm Mindy.
And I am Nick. Lovely to see you on this Wednesday.
And we're excited to share with you more about our family discipleship plan that we have. Guard it, live it, pass it on. We've revisited the intentional time and the moments, right? So intentionally when you're sharing God's truths with your family, the moments capturing God's character throughout the day. And today we're going to focus on milestones and what that looks like and means in terms of family discipleship.
So some of the big milestones in someone's life, starting from young to older, would be baby dedication. And I'm excited we've got one of those coming up at the end of the month, part of our discipleship, Family Discipleship Sunday on the 31st. So baby dedication, what a great milestone. And it's a milestone for the baby, the child, yes, but it's really more about the parents and the church family coming alongside to dedicate themselves to saying, yeah, this is a milestone in our lives. We're going to purposefully disciple and help to this family disciple this child to become a follower of Christ. And other milestones that can be, we've got puberty or graduation from 6th grade or going into high school, and then 16 and driver's license, or 18 out of college.
Going into kindergarten.
First day of school.
Getting baptized.
Your first communion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different milestones, and those milestones don't have to be the exact same for every family. We want to encourage you to consider what milestones make sense for your family. If it doesn't make sense to do a first day of kindergarten milestone, but it does make more sense to do something different, then do that. Embrace it as a family and really celebrate that well.
Right, so think through spiritual times, like significant spiritual times in your child's life, significant emotional times, like when are emotions going and when are things happening, and then like physical, when they turn certain ages or are ready to launch into a new thing like driving. And but so think through, and when you're coming, if you're married and you have a spouse, their childhood may have looked at milestones different than yours. So thinking through and talking, and maybe milestones weren't celebrated in your home, and that's fine. That's not a bad thing. And they don't have to be over the top celebrations, but just recognizing this is a key moment and we're going to capitalize on it in terms of discipleship. It's not just about the celebration. It's how do we disciple our 16-year-old? Okay,
Yeah.
Now that you have a car and you're able to drive, what are some purposeful things you're going to do in this car, right? Like, so if you're a 16-year-old guy and maybe they have some cousins that are younger, so as parents you might say, hey, this is a big responsibility. We're celebrating that you have your car, you've earned your license, you've earned that responsibility, we trust you with this. But how could you use this to disciple some younger kids? How could you use this freedom, to take your younger cousins out for something? How could you use this milestone, this next phase of life, on purpose? How could you do it well? So it's not only just celebrating. I think sometimes we get stuck in the we're going to celebrate, or I'm going to have a party because they did this, or a party because of this. We're not thinking just party. We're also wanting to think about discipling on purpose through what's coming. So you're getting ready for high school. How are we going to prepare for that? How do you want us to pray for you about that? How can you be a good influence on younger kids? So you're in high school now. It's probably time you're serving in WL Kids. So do you want to help with the 3 and 4-year-olds? Can we do that together? And so disciple through the milestones.
Yeah. Something incredible that I'm still surprised that my parents allowed me to do was after I got my license, I was 16, 17, 18, as one is after they get their license, and
in this state.
And I grew up in this church in those ages, and I made friends with some middle schoolers. And so after I got my license, my parents allowed me to use that, and we talked about it some. I took those middle school guys to Fort Wayne, and we ran around the mall being semi-hooligans together, but I used that drive to talk about real things with them and talk about, hey, what are you guys reading in the Bible? Hey, open up, let's read out loud right now, let's talk about it. And I was purposeful. Now it just sounds silly like I'm bragging, but my youth pastor gave the idea to me. I didn't come up with that on my own. And my parents allowed me to use my license, even at such a young age, to be purposeful, just like you said, in taking middle schoolers out and engaging with the next generation, even though I was only 3, 4, 5 years older. than these younger guys. And I still have contact with some of those guys that I met with and worked with and discipled all those years ago. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Or thinking like discipleship for younger kids too, like when they're turning 5 and they're getting ready for kindergarten, what verses are you going to memorize with them to help them? Like, fear not, I am with you, says the Lord, right? That's a really good one for kindergartners to learn. Or something about being kind to someone who isn't kind to you. Think through what are some of the things they're going to struggle with, and how can we equip them and disciple them through Bible memory, through what stories, what we're going to read at night together, or what I'm going to pray for them on the way to school. So just thinking through those milestones as huge ways to disciple your kids.
Yeah.
That's what we want you to think about this week.
Yep. So, have another wonderful Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.